Good day, folks. Thank you for joining us here at Your Health. On today's program, we'd like to talk about the lifestyle and dietary measures, along with supplements, that will help you manage your diabetes. You know, when you go to the doctor in today's world, they're so busy. There's so many sick people to see. We don't often get the lifestyle measures necessary to manage our health conditions today. That's the point of this program, is to help you better understand what you can do to succeed in diabetes management. Very important program today. Stay tuned for that. First, let's go to our news. Let's see what's happening in the health world. Sleeping longer promotes a healthier diet. Researchers from King's College London evaluated sleep and dietary patterns of 42 subjects, all of whom slept less than the recommended 7 hours a night. Half of the subjects received no instruction, and the other half were provided with at least 4 non-medication ways to improve sleep. They found 86% of those receiving sleep advice increased the time spent in bed, and 50% increased sleep time. They found increasing sleep time led to a 10-gram-a-day reduction of sugar in the diet and an overall reduction in starch intake. The study was published by the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition. Related research from Baylor University reported in the Journal of Experimental Psychiatry finds taking 5 minutes to write tomorrow's to-do list helps people fall asleep faster. And finally, from Columbia University, researchers find wearing amber-colored glasses for 2 hours prior to bedtime led to 30 minutes of increased sleep time. The researchers report 90% of all Americans use blue light-emitting electronic devices in the hours prior to bedtime. The study was published by the Journal of Psychiatric Research. Folks, one of the great public health concerns of our time is our increasing pattern of sleep deprivation and the health decline that follows. When we do not get enough sleep, we become stressed and our blood pressure increases, we overeat, weight gain, and possibly diabetes follows. There are many reasons why we're losing sleep. Our increasingly hectic schedules, poor dietary choices, and blue light-emitting electronic devices are among the major reasons why. This line of research provides us with non-medication ways of improving our sleep. Our first study found if you can increase your sleep time, you make better dietary choices with a significant reduction in sugars and starches. This study helped subjects increase sleep time by reducing caffeine before bed, engaging in a relaxing routine prior to bed, and not going to sleep too full or too hungry, among some other helpful things. The next study found taking just a few minutes prior to bed to write down what you would like to accomplish the next day helps to offload thoughts and reduce worry, which promotes rapid sleep. And finally, wearing amber-colored glasses for 2 hours while using electronic devices prior to bed increases sleep time by 30 minutes, and that can make all the difference, just 30 minutes. And I would like to add to our list of natural and safe sleep inducers melatonin, a quality multiple vitamin and mineral, along with a little Noni juice to help calm any source of pain that may be keeping you awake. Sleep better and be healthier. It's worth the effort. The American Heart Association recommends that we continue to eat oily fish at least twice a week. Researchers from the American Heart Association recently reviewed all of the available research concerning the health benefits of the omega-3s found in fish and dietary supplements. They found abundant evidence that the omega-3s reduce the risk of coronary artery disease, cardiac arrest, and ischemic stroke, along with many other serious health conditions. The association recommends eating 3½ ounces of non-fried, oily fish twice a week. Fish types suitable include salmon, mackerel, herring, lake trout, sardines, and albacore tuna. The report also recommends we strictly limit intakes of shark, swordfish, tilefish, king mackerel, big-eyed tuna, marlin, and orange roughy due to their high mercury content. The advisory was published by the journal Circulation. Folks, in recent months, there have been several opinion pieces published by so-called medical experts that question whether eating oily fish or supplementing omega-3s really provides any heart benefits at all. Of course, these experts are actually selling their services and cholesterol-lowering drugs. However, a quick review of the scientific evidence confirms it is absolutely in our best interest to continue eating fish and supplementing fish oil. There is overwhelming evidence providing fish oil's benefits, but the evidence is scientifically based, which is hard for many to understand. So the fish oil critics are hoping you will believe the easy answer and just rely on drugs and not the natural things that our bodies are designed to use to prevent disease. Please be reassured. Eating fish and supplementing fish oil helps to prevent cardiovascular disease. Plus, there are all of the brain and nervous system benefits as well. Well, today on Your Health, we'd like to discuss the lifestyle, dietary, and supplemental measures that will help you better manage your diabetes. Today, we have updates in diabetes management the natural way. Stay tuned to learn more. Every day, about 200 million Americans do not get enough of a key essential mineral.
That mineral is magnesium. The typical American diet does not supply enough.
And magnesium is so important. It protects bones and helps more than 300 different enzymes in the human body perform efficiently.
That's why Bioinnovations offers chelated magnesium capsules for oral use and topical magnesium gel to be applied to the skin. That's 2 forms of magnesium to meet your daily needs.
Scientific evidence points to chelation as the best method of vitamin and mineral formulation.
Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health.
Because chances are you are one of the 200 million Americans who need more magnesium every day.
Again, that number is 888-442-2128. Call today. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings.
I'm Dr. Richard Becker, and this is Your Health at a Glance. Our health depends on the choices we make every day, and few conditions are as dependent on our choices as diabetes. So here is your daily diabetic checklist. Number 1, take your diet seriously every day. Eat lean protein and leafy vegetables. Number 2, sugars and starches raise blood glucose, so reduce them in your diet. Number 3, check your blood glucose and record the readings every day. Number 4, take your medication daily and don't skip. And number 5, try to exercise every day. It will help you take off weight, which will help your body regulate blood sugar better. If you are diabetic, this is your quick daily checklist that could make life better. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Have you heard of Cordyceps sinensis, the medicinal mushroom that supports metabolic processes for stimulant-free energy? This remarkable mushroom also supports the immune and respiratory systems, as well as the heart and lungs.
Bioinnovations brings you Dr. Becker's Bionutrients, Cordyceps sinensis.
Medicinal mushrooms contain beta-glucans, compounds that promote healthy immune function while helping to coordinate multiple body systems. And Cordyceps sinensis is among the safest and most powerful medicinal mushrooms available today, making it your choice for stimulant-free natural energy.
Bioinnovations is the affordable source that you can trust for all your vitamin and supplement needs. Give us a call at 888-442-2128. That's 888-442-2128. Or order online at bioinnovations.net. Be sure to ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. Welcome back, everyone. It is such a blessing to be with you today. Today's show is going to be quite informative. I mean, sit back and listen. This is a good one. We all need to learn from this one. You know, living with diabetes can be a very, very great challenge for a lot of people. You don't have to be depressed about that. There is help on the way. Managing diabetes the natural way. We're going to talk today about how you can overcome this disease. Richard, I know that saying overcome may be a stretch, but a lot of times, especially with a type 2 diabetic, they can reverse a lot of it.
Yeah, in fact, the majority can. There's good evidence that says that. That's been the experience of many diabetics. Well, what is this diabetes? Let's define it. Diabetes is a metabolic syndrome that leads to elevated blood glucose levels. And this elevation of blood glucose damages blood vessels, and when the blood vessels damage, the organs damage in various body parts. There are 2 basic types of diabetes, type 1 diabetes, or juvenile as it's been called historically. Type 1 diabetics are typically young. They have low to absent insulin levels. This is the minority, less than 10% are type 1. Type 2 People call that adult onset. They typically have high insulin levels, and this is the vast majority. Now, there are exceptions to that. There are type 2 diabetics that have very low insulin levels, like a type 1. That's the type of type 2 diabetic that often needs insulin therapy. And we now have children diagnosed with adult onset due to the obesity epidemic. The underlying theme in all the diabetics is glucose levels skyrocket. 80% of the type 2 diabetics, what we call adult onset, it is a direct result of weight gain and little to no exercise. That's the underlying thing. Too much weight and not enough exercise. There are other factors in our diet. High fructose corn syrup is playing a role. Sugar in all its forms, refined starches, and pesticide and chemical-laden genetically modified foods. Please do not discount that. We don't have the time today to go through all the proof of that, but we now have very good evidence that pollution, pesticides, genetically modified, because those foods are set up to handle pesticide sprays. And so we have a high level of this in our diet and in our bodies, and it is playing a role in this diabetes. All of that leads to inflammation in the body, and nutrient deficiencies would lead to type 2 diabetes, the vast majority. The Center for Disease report says 1 out of every 10 Americans has diabetes. Among seniors, it's 1 in 4. And they say if we continue with our current patterns, by the year 2050, every 3rd American will be diabetic. That is astounding because it's a very expensive disease. There are currently 28 million diagnosed diabetics in America, 6 million undiagnosed diabetics, 34 million total, and there are 2 million new diabetics every year. Every year. It's remarkable. Behind that wall of diabetes is some 100 million who have what's called metabolic syndrome. This is a prelude to diabetes, or pre-diabetes, if you will. This includes abdominal obesity, we're putting on weight. There's high blood pressure. The glucose is a little high, but not into the diabetic range. Triglycerides, cholesterol is elevated, and we have a low HDL. That's the metabolic syndrome. There are some 100 million. Every 3rd American has that today. So there are many, many people lined up to take the place of last year's diabetics. This is really a concern to those of us who care for the ills of America. It's a huge public health issue. Among children, 1 of every 400 children has type 1 diabetes or type 2. This is much more common now because children are overweight and they become type 2 diabetics. So it used to be 8, 10, 15, 20 type 1 diabetics to type 2 among children, but now it's 50-50 due to the obesity epidemic. Diabetes costs this country $220 billion a year. $220 billion, that's serious money, 32% increase in 5 years. 1 out of every 5 healthcare dollars is spent on caring for diabetes. If you are a diabetic, you can expect to spend, on average, $16,000 a year. Some people spend much more than that just to manage your diabetes. Imagine what you could do with that money if we're in a little better condition. Well, how do you know if you've become diabetic? Well, let's take the quiz. Here are some symptoms of diabetes. Changes in a visual acuity. You just got a new prescription for your lenses, but today they're not working. But tomorrow they do work. You see what I mean? Changes in your acuity. That's classic. That's due to high blood sugars, lower blood sugars. It changes our visual acuity. Excessive thirst, excessive hunger, frequent urination. Those are due to high blood glucose levels. Irritability, unexplained fatigue, itchy skin, yeast infections of the skin, especially in the folds of the skin. You may have yeast infections or candida. Waxy skin, sores and cuts that do not heal. Take a long time to heal the bruises and the cuts and sores. A black velvety rash under the armpit, around the neck. This is called acanthosis nigrans. This is a fairly common sign of diabetes. Weight gain, weight loss, elevated blood pressure, sedentary lifestyle. If you're a couch potato, you know it. It's part of it. And elevated triglycerides. There can be mental fog and loss of clarity. Pain. 30% of all diabetics go to the doctor. I have pain in my legs or in my abdomen. I don't know why. Are you diabetic? No, I'm not diabetic. Well, let's check. Guess what, Mrs. Jones? You're diabetic, and you have diabetic neuralgia. 30% of all diagnosed diabetics are diagnosed that way because of pain. Are you struggling with pain? It could be because you have diabetes. There can also be a family history of type 2 diabetes. If it runs in your family, heightened alert, you may be diabetic. What can we do about diabetes? Now, we could go into how you diagnose it, but this is the perusal of the doctor. It's elevated blood glucose levels. You can also have a high blood glucose level after you eat a meal. That's another way of doing it. And your long-term blood glucose readings can be elevated too. We can use any of those measures to diagnose diabetes. What happens when we do not manage our diabetes appropriately? It leads to vascular damage, oxidative stress. This is much like when we have high glucose levels, it's much like putting too much wood on the fire, in the campfire, and we get a lot of smoke. When we have too much glucose in our bloodstream, the metabolic consequences is like smoke in the bloodstream. It's not exactly that way, but it's very similar. It's incomplete oxidation of fuels, and it leads to glycation or a changing of the chemical nature of your tissues. Diabetes changes your molecular structure. And when this happens in the small vessels, it leads to organ damage. And the further away from the heart, the tissue, the more likely the damage occurs. So we change our tissues. And with time, what does that lead to? Heart disease. Diabetics are up to 4 times more likely to have heart attacks, vascular disease, stroke, this type of thing. High blood pressure. The majority, 3 out of 4 diabetics are hypertensives. Blindness, leading cause of preventable and non-preventable blindness in the 20 to 74 years of age. A tremendous increase in risk of macular degeneration. Kidney disease, leading cause of renal dialysis in America, #1 reason for renal dialysis. Nervous system, damage to the nerves. This is the diabetic neuropathy that is such a difficult thing to deal with. Amputation, 60% of all non-traumatic amputations of the lower extremities are due to diabetes. #1 reason to have an amputation of any body part is diabetes. So there's real problems with diabetes. And this is not, maybe it'll happen to me, maybe it won't. Living long enough with unmanaged diabetes, I promise you, you will have one of these problems. It's virtually impossible to avoid it unless you go to great effort to try to manage your disease. Well, what can we do to prevent these complications? Science has proven following a good plan helps to reduce your risk of these complications. That's what this program is all about. They did a small study at Newcastle University, 30 diabetics. They found 13 of the 30 who had had diabetes for 10 years. So we have a group of 30. 13 of the 30 reversed their diabetes completely. This is type 2 diabetes by losing weight and keeping it off. The ones who were not able to reverse their diabetes was because they had low insulin levels. That would be the group who needs to take insulin. Now, this is very important. It's a small study, but it proves the point. If you are a high insulin diabetic, most of those can reverse with a good lifestyle plan. Now, that's a small study, but we have huge studies now that support that issue as well. Let's go to our break, and when we return, let's talk about what the science says about the benefits of managing your disease. It's not all doom and gloom. You can do something about the diabetes when we return. Is your life out of balance? It may be. The average American consumes far too many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s. This creates an imbalance.
So what can we do to get back in balance? We can eat a healthy diet.
And most of us need to supplement with omega-3 rich fish oil. Fish oil contains omega-3s with DHA and EPA, fatty acids that promote good brain and heart health. So reduce omega-6 in your nutritional plan and boost omega-3 to get back in balance.
To help you do that, BioInnovations offers 2 products, the Fish Oil Complex and Omega 369, both formulated for your health and well-being. So how do you choose? For highest levels of DHA and EPA, choose the Fish Oil Complex. For a balanced formula, choose the 369. Go online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. I'm Cindy Becker for Your Health at a Glance. How often do you go into the grocery store to buy just a bag of chips or candy bar? I suspect not very often. Then how is it that these foods make it into our grocery bags and pantries? Do you make impulse choices and buy junk food? To control that impulse, plan your next trip to the store. Write down at least 3 days of menus and build a grocery list with the ingredients needed to prepare the meals. Eat a healthy snack before going to the store. If you are hungry, you're less likely to stick to the grocery list. Shop the perimeter of the store, starting with fruits and vegetables. Have you ever noticed the most healthy foods are in the outer aisles? And avoid items displayed at the checkout counter, trying to entice you to make a last-minute purchase. Follow these tips and make a plan so your next trip gives you control and you come home with bags full of healthy food. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Cindy Becker.
Vitamin D deficiency is at epidemic levels in the United States. Chances are you aren't getting enough of this essential nutrient. Vitamin D is one of the most important molecules in the human body. It's required for the proper function of nearly 4,000 genes and 1,000 metabolic chemical reactions.
BioInnovations brings you Dr. Becker's BioNutrients Vitamin D3. Now, supplementing with vitamin D is safe and affordable.
Studies show that vitamin D deficiency can lead to poor immune function, depression, cardiovascular disease, bone disease, diabetes, cancer, and much more. Starting supplementing vitamin D today for better health tomorrow. BioInnovations is the affordable source that you can trust for all your vitamin and supplement needs. So give us a call at 888-442-2128. That's 888-442-2128. Or order online at bioinnovations.net. We're back, everyone, talking about how you can successfully manage diabetes the natural way. So, Richard, we have a lot of research stories to support the natural way. This is amazing. Yeah, the primary treatment of diabetes is lifestyle implementation. That's the primary treatment. Here we have a diabetes prevention program. That was the name of the study. It was a study of over 3,000 participants who are at high risk of diabetes. This is the metabolic syndrome. This is the person who the doctor says, Mrs. Jones, I'm concerned you're going to become diabetic if we don't do something. 3,000 of these. They found these people, if they just lost 5 to 7 pounds through diet and exercise, it could prevent type 2 diabetes. Just initiating the weight loss metabolism concept helps to reverse the diabetes. That should be very encouraging to you. So you don't necessarily have to lose 50, 100 pounds to reverse this pattern, but get the ball rolling and you will have benefit. A weight loss of 5% improves diabetes control, and a BMI reduction of 5 points reduces diabetes risk by 50%. This is a large study that's just published. Now, how much is that? A BMI of 5-point reduction, what is that? That is from 10 to 40 pounds, depending on how large you are. That's typical, 10 to 40 pounds. Get the ball rolling. It does wonders for metabolism. And when I say ball rolling, get the weight loss ball rolling. A 10-year trial of 1,400 type 1 diabetics. These are those who are dependent on insulin to survive and manage their diabetes. Those who kept their hemoglobin A1C in the normal range were able to prevent further complications. So if you manage to get your blood glucose levels down to normal or near normal, you will have less trouble down the road with your diabetes. There's a lot of denial in this disease, folks. I wish I could take you to the diabetes ward of any major hospital and show you what can happen. That will wipe the denial out of your head, because this is an inevitability. Now is the time to act, manage your life, take charge. It's not that hard. Every day is a new opportunity to do a little better, to choose better foods, to walk a little more. You know what I'm saying? Every day you have a chance. You don't have to be perfect today, but we want to be a little better. That's the gist of our concept today. Next, a 20-year trial in Oxford. They did a tight control for the first 10 years of the diabetic management. They really worked hard to get their glucose under control for a 10-year period. Then they were allowed to abandon their control, or many in the study just abandoned their control, and they had blood glucoses that were high, but they had a 10-year period of really good control. They found if you have a good period of control, even if you abandon control, at 20 years out, you're in much better condition. So every day you achieve good control is a benefit for you. Well, maybe you have a celebration weekend and you have a piece of cake and not so good. Well, we don't want to do that too much, but every day that you succeed in getting your blood sugar under 140 as your routine, you're going to have benefits down the road. That's very encouraging to know that. So we work to improve our pattern. How do we do this? How do we do this? Here are the highlights. Hundreds of scientific writings confirm 70% or more, the majority of type 2 diabetics can be avoided and reversed with proper dietary, lifestyle, and even in some cases medication management. 70%, that's almost 3 out of 4. That should be very encouraging to everyone. A high fiber, plant-based, low sugar and starch diet is foundational for most. The Mediterranean diet lowers diabetes risk. It lowers hemoglobin A1C. It lowers cardiovascular. Hemoglobin A1C is your long-term blood glucose reading. It's your average over time, over a 3-month period of time. Mediterranean diet lowers cardiovascular disease risk if diabetic. But new research has shown not only the Mediterranean diet is helpful with diabetes management, but a vegan diet is helpful. A vegetarian diet can be helpful, and a low-carb, high-protein diet also works in managing diabetes. And the gist of that new research project that I was just quoting was that no one diet is right for everyone. You do have your ancestral factors. You have where you live, foods that are available to you, the foods you like to eat. They all play a role in this, but it does take a sense of commitment. Choose one of them. I would be willing to say that the Mediterranean approach to eating is the best for the majority, but it may not be best for you. But whatever you do, you can't eat sugar like you used to. You can't eat simple starches and pastries like you used to. That needs to end. And I don't want to pull any punches on this. This is critical information. Only sugars, starches, and sweet-tasting things raise glucose. And when I say sweet-tasting things, I include artificial sweeteners, including stevia. Now, stevia is natural, but anything that's sweet that goes into your body can't tell the difference in a way, and it initiates the mechanisms that ultimately raise glucose levels and lead to weight gain, even if there's no calories in it. None of this is my ideas. This is all from the scientific research, and it's proving it. People who drink diet sodas gain weight just like people who drink sugar-sweetened sodas. Sweet things are not our friends, only occasionally, in small doses. I hope that makes sense to you. The number one reason why we have so many diabetics in this country today is diet sodas, sweet drinks, corn syrup, and the chemicals, especially MSG, aspartame, and artificial sweeteners. If it tastes sweet, it raises insulin levels, and this compels us to eat more. That's the mechanism. When your insulin level's high, you must eat more to sustain a blood glucose level. Because when your glucose drops, you feel hungry, you need food. Even if you've had enough food for the day, you're going to eat more. That's the pattern. Glycemic index and amount of carbohydrate are major determinants of postprandial glucose. What's that mean? The type of glucose and sugar and starch foods you consume and how much of them you consume determines how high your glucose will go. There was a time, and this still happens in America today, when diabetics are told, sure, you can have a candy bar after a meal. No problem, just take more medicine. I want you to know that's not true. Oh, you may get your glucose down, but it requires too much medicine, and you're incurring damage to your tissues with that approach. Save the sweets for the special occasions. You can't have 51, 52 birthdays a year, though. Only one. You have to be judicious and in small portions. 5 to 9 servings of colorful fruits and vegetables a day, organic fresh meats, fish, fowl, healthy oils. Replace the sugars and starches with healthy oils, particularly olive oil and fish oils and oily fish, this type of thing. That's where you get your energy, not from sugars. Whole grains where appropriate, high-fiber foods, nuts and seeds. New study from Diabetology found replacing carbohydrates with 75 grams of nuts and seeds a day is an appropriate way to manage your diabetes. Get rid of the carbs and the sugars, replace those calories with nuts and seeds. You'll love the flavor, and they're satisfying. They hold you. It's tremendous. We have more critical information when we return. For centuries, the herb Astragalus has been a staple of traditional Chinese medicine. It's used to create a strong shield, protecting the immune system.
Astragalus is also used to support healthy heart and lung function.
There's even more. Astragalus helps to calm total body inflammation, a common cause of pain and chronic illness.
All of that without the use of medication.
That's right. Support your health the way nature intended with Astragalus root.
BioInnovations brings you Dr. Becker's Bionutrients Astragalus root extract. BioInnovations is the affordable source that you can trust for all your vitamin and supplement needs. Give us a call at 888-442-2128 or order online at bioinnovations.net and see what Astragalus can do for your health. That number once again is 888-442-2128. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. Call today.
I'm Dr. Richard Becker for Your Health at a Glance. More and more people suffer from asthma. One cause is obvious. The world is a polluted place, and the air we breathe is not always healthy. But other causes of asthma aren't as obvious. Recent research connects a poor quality, high sugar diet and the frequent use of antibiotics to higher rates of asthma and cases of asthma that are tougher to treat. A fast food diet does not meet our nutritional needs. Plus, the indiscriminate use of antibiotics can seriously disturb the delicate balance of healthy microbes in our intestinal tract. So switch to a garden fresh diet that calms and prevents asthma. Eat fruit-like veggies such as tomatoes, cucumbers, and eggplant. Eat yogurt, ginger, turmeric, and take fish oil. Nature holds the answer, but it's up to us to make healthy choices. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Dr. Richard Becker. Can you lower your risk of disease? The answer is yes. One way is by including fruit in your diet. Fruit contains valuable nutrients that can reduce the risk of heart disease, stroke, and even some cancers.
We've searched the world and found 4 fruits we believe are among the best. Noni from Polynesia, acai from the Amazon, and 2 new ones, goji and mangosteen.
These 4 juices each have amazing properties that make them great additions to your nutritional plan. If you're a diabetic or have chronic pain, these juices will help you feel better and have more energy. Plus, they help with digestion.
Now you can experience the health-promoting benefits of all 4 in one convenient package we call the Fruits of the World 4-pack. And remember, it's 50% off by the case.
Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. That number's 888-442-2128.
We're back, everyone, talking about how you can manage diabetes the natural way. And you really can. It just takes perseverance. And like Richard said, every day's a new day. Don't worry about what happened yesterday. It's about today. Yeah. So, Richard, that's how we have a good tomorrow.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that gives us hope and the courage to put one foot in front of the next and walk on to a new day.
That's right.
Absolutely. Now, let's review the 6 things every diabetic should know. And this is good information even for non-diabetics, kind of summarizing what we've done so far. Number 1, diet is the most important treatment of diabetes. Type 1, type 2, all the variants. Diet is still the number 1 most important. No matter the skill of your doctors or the advancement of their medicines, if a proper diet is not in place, I promise you, your treatment will fail. With time, it's going to fail. Number 2, patients must regularly check their blood glucose levels, and I recommend record those levels in any notes, like what you had for dinner, what you had for breakfast, why is my sugar high, why is it low. Check and record your blood glucose leavings. Start with a daily reading at 7 a.m. We call that a fasting. You know, you're fasting maybe at 4 a.m. if you have to get up early, but that before breakfast, 7 a.m., and somewhere after lunch, like 4 p.m. Those are good times to check and record. You will learn so much by recording your own glucose levels. And we now have these devices that do it all for you. It's all recorded in the device. Now, with time, you won't need to check your glucose every morning and every afternoon. But for a while, do it until you learn how to properly manage your diabetes. So, frequent checks of your glucose are important. Stress from any illness or any other cause, even a fight with the wife, can raise your glucose. Any sweet substance, sugars or starches raise glucose. Stress and sweets raises glucose levels. Next, exercise, insulin, diabetic medications, and I'm not anti-medicines for diabetes. We do what we have to do to manage our glucose. Exercise, insulin, proper diabetic medications, and a proper diet lower glucose levels. Abnormally low blood glucose levels require compensation, such as lessening your next dose of medicine, increasing your food intake at your next meal or immediately, or both. You have to learn how to manage a low glucose. I'm not talking of a coma state. It's so low you're in a coma. Nobody can manage that on their own, but we want to prevent those where you pass out from a low glucose. That's very dangerous. We don't want that. Know what to do. Recognize the early signs when it's down to 60 or 70. I'm not feeling right. I know what that is. I better check my glucose. Learn how to do that. Strive for an even flow of glucose. Up and down is chaotic and very difficult to live with. You don't want highs and lows. Strive for an even flow of glucose. It's never flat. It's not like that. You'll have ups and downs, but you don't want spikes and valleys. That is tough. Final, number 6, you must become your own doctor of wellness if you are a diabetic. The more you learn about managing your disease, the more successful you will be at preventing complications. I think of it this way. You work hard all your life to have a few years in retirement, to enjoy the family, the grandkids, to travel, to see this great land of ours. Why be straddled with complications of diabetes and stuck in the home for those years? Nobody wants that. Well, this is how we prevent that disability from diabetes, is managing our diabetes. So you have to learn more about it. Now, a major part of our discussion today is, of course, the supplements we can use that helps diabetes. And these are tremendous. And many of you will find with diet and supplements, that's all you will need. But if diet, supplements, and exercise, and 30 minutes a day of exercise should be considered a prescription for diabetes, particularly type 2 diabetes, if that's not enough to manage your glucose levels, you'll need medicine. But you can take the medicines with these measures. They've been studied very thoroughly, and it's okay to do that. So let's get started. What can we do in the natural world to help the diabetic? First one is alpha-lipoic acid. What alpha-lipoic acid does, it helps insulin do its job. It improves insulin function. It improves the function of 2 enzymes that metabolize glucose. You become more efficient in processing glucose. It is a conditionally essential nutrient, meaning normally we make it for ourselves, but with diabetes and other conditions, including advancing age, we don't make enough of it, and we need an exogenous source. And diet is not a good source of alpha-lipoic acid. There is some in your foods, but not enough to really make a difference. It's a biphasic antioxidant. It helps to prevent the damage of that metabolic soup, the smoke of the fire. Remember we talked about what high glucose does? It damages tissues. It helps to prevent, even reverse that phenomena. A dose of 300 milligrams has been studied, 600 milligrams, 900, 1200, 2400 milligrams a day. They all help diabetes, but a little higher. 600 milligrams a day, 900 a day is where I would recommend you go. Start with 1, see how your body responds, but don't be afraid to go up to 3 capsules a day, 4 capsules, 1 with each meal, 3 times a day, and maybe 1 at bedtime. Many people do that very successfully for their diabetes. That is alpha-lipoic acid. You know, it's been used in Germany for 60 years now as a treatment for diabetic neuropathy with good success. It will help your pain. Alpha-lipoic acid is tremendous. The next one. Now, all of these agents have a way of lowering glucose, and so when you start them, you should check your glucose levels. You may need less food, you may need less medicine, but that's the whole idea here. Be less dependent on medications for successful management. Chromium picolinate. Chromium is an essential trace mineral. It helps insulin do its job. The typical American diabetic has an insulin level 40% below optimal. It is common for the American diabetic to be low in chromium. It is a microgram, a tiny dose, 200 micrograms a day, 400, 600, 800, have all been studied and shown safe and helpful in managing diabetes. What many people say when they initiate chromium for their diabetes management is they no longer crave those sweets. Wouldn't that be nice to be free of those cravings? When we return, let's talk about the advantages of fiber in diabetes management. We'll be back.
Are you one of the 62 million Americans suffering from gastrointestinal problems? Do you struggle with other chronic conditions? That's why we offer Dr. Becker's Bionutrient Probiotics.
After years of research, we developed a revolutionary probiotic formula with gastro defense technology. This system protects the good bacteria from stomach acid so the probiotics reach the intestines where they go to work. Additionally, we use live count technology to prolong the shelf life of the probiotics, so there's no need for refrigeration.
Dr. Becker's Bionutrient Probiotics is a powerful combination and one of the most effective formulas available today. And we offer a children's chewable formula too, both at prices you can afford.
Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. That number's 888-442-2128.
It's been said that life is not measured by the number of breaths we take, but by the moments that take our breath away. Jesus, while discussing his role as the Good Shepherd, phrased it like this in the Gospel of John: I have come that they may have life and have it to the full. That comes from John 10:10. We can enjoy an abundant life through Christ, a life like that described by President Abraham Lincoln, who said in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, it's the life in your years.
Different people have different vitamin and mineral needs. That's why Dr. Becker's Bionutrients multiple vitamin and mineral powders come in 4 different blends.
That's right. When it comes to vitamins, no one formula is right for everyone. For those who don't get enough vegetables in their diet, there's the Organic Green Blend with 3 servings of vegetables in every tablespoon.
And for those looking for a boost of fruit and berry phytonutrients, there's the Berry Blend with 3 servings of fruit in every tablespoon.
And don't forget the Active Adult Blend with extra B vitamins, calcium, and added cofactors like ginkgo and CoQ10.
Plus, we've designed a multiple for those with allergies called the Low Allergy Rice Blend.
Whatever your unique needs are, Bionutrients has a multiple vitamin that's just right for you.
Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health.
We're back, everyone, learning how we can manage diabetes the natural way. This is so interesting. So, Richard, fiber intake, that's important for the diabetic as well.
Yes, it is, and particularly soluble fiber. And the one we like so much is glucomannan fiber. What this special substance does, as does most all soluble fibers, it slows the digestion and release of glucose and sugar in our diet into the bloodstream. it creates a scenario where our metabolic mechanism can handle the glucose better because it turns a flood of glucose into a trickle. Think of it that way, and you got the essence of soluble fiber. But it does more than that. Not only does it lower glucose that way, it lowers cholesterol. It creates a sense of dietary satisfaction. You know, if you're happy with less food, and it's not a torture or difficult, we're in a better position to manage our glucose, isn't it? Because I'm satisfied with just enough. I mean, that's where we want to get you to, where less is better. So it increases dietary satisfaction, and it also promotes weight loss. Several studies now have shown just taking 2 to 4 grams a day of glucosamine and fiber without making dietary changes results in a few pounds of weight loss every 12 weeks or so, with no effort. It's just the added fiber. So that's very good. Add a little fiber. Next is grape seed extract and resveratrol, products of the grape. And basically what the grape does for us, and there's nothing wrong with eating grapes, but remember, grape juice is rich in sugar, and grapes have quite a bit of sugar too, but it has the fiber to slow the release. But take a grape seed and resveratrol type product, and what that does is it turns on your thin genes. Yes, isn't that amazing? So you can be overweight, and they've done studies that proves this. You can be overweight, have the metabolism of a pre-diabetic. That's your high cholesterol and triglycerides, the blood pressure's up a little bit, you know, the whole metabolic syndrome. And products of the grape actually reverses that to the physiology of a thin person. That's astounding. It is just absolutely astounding. And the drug companies have wanted to turn products of the grape into a drug, but as is so often with our naturals, it's the symphony of ingredients in the grape that makes this happen, not one single agent. So to date, all efforts to turn the grape into a drug, it just hasn't worked. But you can take the grape seed and resveratrol, grape skin extract, that's the resveratrol, take that as a dietary supplement, and it helps turn your physiology back into a thin person's physiology. That's amazing to me. There's a long list of benefits to using the grape, but that's the start. Next is vitamin D. Vitamin D, we are a nation of vitamin D deficient and insufficient human beings, and we're paying a huge price for this. Vitamin D really should be thought of as a hormone. It controls other hormones. It controls the inflammation reaction. It controls cellular division, and on and on. So in the diabetic, vitamin D deficiency leads to diabetes. If you're low in D, you're more likely to become diabetic. If you're low in D, you're more likely to have diabetes complications. I'm sorry for my stammering, but there's so much to tell you. If you're low in D, you're more likely to become diabetic. If you're low in D and a diabetic, you're more likely to have complications, problems, which will lead to your demise. So get that vitamin D level up. You have nothing to be afraid of. Get your blood level to 50 to 70 or so nanograms per deciliter. For most of us, that is from 3,000 to 10,000 international units of vitamin D3 a day, depending on your size. The further north you live, the more vitamin D you need. The more fat you're carrying, the more vitamin D you need. Please do not, because if you're not taking the D, the other measures aren't going to work as well. There, I said that. That helps you understand how important it is. Next, antioxidants. Remember, we talked about the smoke from the fire, the metabolic fire. The high glucose levels pickles tissues. That's how I think of it. It changes the chemical nature of your blood vessels and your organs. That's the smoke of the fire. Antioxidants help to prevent that action. Things like the carotenoid complex, the lutein, lycopene, preserve the eyes, the astaxanthin, zeaxanthin, lutein, all that, it helps the eyes too, and it helps other tissues. We have research that shows it helps the other tissue, not just the eyes. The quercetin, the olive leaf extract, olive oil and olives. Include those in your diet. Take them as supplements. The acai, tremendous antioxidants. Goji, mangosteen, curcumin. Take a variety of these into your diet. Colorful fruits and vegetables. Take their extracts as supplements. It makes a huge difference. It helps to prevent the cataracts, the aging, and on and on. Antioxidants play. What they do basically is they right the ailing cell. They help to correct cellular mechanisms that occur due to the metabolic aberrations we call diabetes. That's technically how they work, through cell signaling. Probiotics and anti-yeast measures. I have not met a diabetic yet who's out of control who does not have a raging yeast infection, a fungal infection. It's absolutely true. It may not be on the skin, but it is inside. You correct that dysbiotic state, you're going to succeed much more better, if that's a proper way of saying things, in managing your diabetes. Manage the yeast, manage the diabetes. You know, even if you're not diabetic and you have internal yeast dysbiosis, you have to go on a low-sugar diet anyway to conquer that thing. You do. And it's true for the diabetic as well. It's the only way you get that yeast under control. The omega-3s, when we ingest more essential omegas into our body, we rely less on carbohydrates to manage our glucose levels. It lowers your triglycerides, it lowers your cholesterols a little bit, and it raises your HDL, and it helps to prevent the disease complications. Omega-3s are a critical part of your management. And add more oils to your diet. Olive oil, avocado oil, all the healthy oils. It's paramount. And this is a major theme in the scientific writings on managing diabetes. Take the sugars, take the starches, push them aside, healthy oils to replace. We have a break. We'll return in a moment. For thousands of years, Eastern health practitioners have used mushrooms for a variety of treatments.
And recently, scientists everywhere in the world have turned to mushrooms in search of health-promoting compounds.
These are known as medicinal mushrooms. Among some of the most potent are ABM, maitake, reishi, shiitake, and Cordyceps sinensis.
At BioInnovations, we've made available 4 of the most powerful mushrooms in one easy-to-use formula. We call it the Mushroom Complex. We also offer the amazing mushroom Cordyceps sinensis in a standalone formula.
Cordyceps helps boost energy, an amazing discovery now used in both Eastern and Western medicine. So take advantage of thousands of years of health knowledge.
Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. I'm Cindy Becker for Your Health at a Glance. We all have said, I need to get some exercise, but how many of us put on our walking shoes and go? Learning a little more about the health benefits of exercise may help you get motivated to lace up those walking shoes. Exercise helps to control our appetite and weight. It maintains strong muscles. It promotes the release of endorphins that counter depression while helping us feel good about our lives. Exercise helps to lower blood glucose, promotes a strong circulatory system, and controls cholesterol. Exercise even helps us get a good night's sleep. Recent research finds dog owners who regularly walk their pet are 34% more likely to achieve fitness goals. You can get all of these health benefits by walking 30 minutes 4 times a week, just 30 minutes a day. Start today, and you'll start to get all those benefits. For Your Health at a Glance, I'm Cindy Becker.
Do you believe that nature holds the answer to your health needs? Are you looking for a supplement that's simple and pure, yet really works?
If you're looking for nature's answer to better health, look to Aloha Noni Juice. It's pure and fresh, just like nature intended. Aloha Noni Juice is brought to you direct from the islands of Polynesia.
Aloha Noni Juice is 100% pure with no added sugar or sweet fruit fillers. It's the perfect addition to your low-sugar diet.
Aloha Noni Juice drinkers will tell you their vitality, energy, and sense of well-being have improved, along with relief from many painful conditions. Made by nature, proven by science, Aloha Noni Juice contains only nature's best.
And now you can enjoy the benefits of our new 100% certified organic Noni Juice. Order online at bioinnovations.net or call 888-442-2128 and let us assist you in making the right choices for better health. Ask about the AutoShip program for additional savings. Your Health is brought to you by BioInnovations, trusted products for your health and well-being.
We're back, everyone, going through the nutritional measures to help you manage your diabetes. So, Richard, I believe Noni is next.
Noni is next. In the Polynesian culture, Noni juice is frequently used to help people manage their diabetes. And modern science has shown that it improves insulin resistance. It improves insulin resistance. It also helps with the painful conditions of diabetes, Noni juice, and it's virtually sugar-free. There's 1 gram of glucose per ounce. That's minimal. That's not a problem for the diabetic. Next is milk thistle. We think of milk thistle as an excellent remedy for liver dysfunction, liver problems. But think of it this way. See, the liver is an organ of insulin, or excuse me, glucose control. It's not just the pancreas. Improve liver function, improve glucose control, and all the measures of diabetes management, cholesterol, the long-term glucose, glucose levels, they all improve with milk thistle. This is a tremendous aid for the diabetic, milk thistle, don't forget that. The Ayurvedic remedy, fenugreek. It lowers insulin levels. It also improves glucose control. Next is cinnamon. Cinnamon. Multiple studies now show that a little supplementation of cinnamon, use cinnamon on your vegetables. It's not just for sweet rolls and such. Put it on your vegetables. It helps to improve your glucose control, and many people will take it as a supplement in a capsule. Multiple vitamin and mineral. Diabetics wash out B vitamins. The typical diabetic needs 8 times the amount of thiamine as a non-diabetic. Think about that for a minute. We use B vitamins for many things, and one of the most important is the management, the process, the metabolism of glucose. You can't do those reactions without B vitamins, and when your glucose levels are high, you use a lot of B vitamins. So take a B complex. Take a little extra. Your basic multiple vitamin may not be enough. Add a B complex to that. Now you're making progress. Your medicinal mushrooms, your maitake, reishi, shiitake, ABM, cordyceps, they do wonderful things. They help to improve metabolism. They lower cholesterol. They lower glucose levels. It is the Oriental approach to managing diabetes, and you can do it too. It's a wonderful tool for managing diabetes. Also, the Cordyceps sinensis in particular, it helps the liver to turn glucose into ATP so you have cellular energy for all your bodily processes, including driving immunity, which is a very common problem, low immunity in diabetics. Well, folks, we have record number of diabetics, and there's more on the horizon. It's a very expensive disease, and it can be very painful with sequelae that you want nothing to do with. You want to manage your diabetes now and prevent misery in the future. Do all you can. It is worth the effort. Get up off the couch, take a walk, choose healthier foods, drink more water and less sugar in your drinks. All of these things matter. And if you need a medicine, less will be required because of your supplement plan. Thank you for your kind attention. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thanks, everyone. Bye-bye.
In the pit of my stomach, I knew it was going to be positive. I wouldn't be in this situation if I would have even been taking it if I didn't think it was going to be positive, but I didn't want to admit that. I turned it over, and there were 2 lines. It was a positive test. I remember just being like, oh no. Like, that was all that really went through my head. I didn't know what to do.
Hear the stories and experience the freedom on Real Life.
This week on Our Jewish Roots, we begin our examination of the kings of ancient Israel and Judah in our series, Kings.